Hello again, and welcome back to Our Strange Past. Today we look into the bizarre case of a murdered pastor who was found dead after a fire at the very church where he preached. But, oddly enough, the investigation reveals that things are not as they seem. On Tuesday, June 16, 1987, firefighters were summoned to a fire at the Nashville-based Pentecostal church. Fortunately, they were able to put out the fire before it destroyed the entire church. Unfortunately, after putting out the fire, they found the body of 44-year-old Reverend John David Terry. He was found dismembered and rolled up into an old section of carpet. At least, that's what they thought. Since the fire was extinguished before causing severe damage to the body, the medical examiner was able to discern its true identity. Even though the body wore the Reverend's clothes, the medical examiner was able to determine that it wasn't Reverend Terry's body at all. As soon as it became clear that it was not Terry, the detectives began searching for him. Eventually, Reverend John David Terry handed himself over to the authorities, and in 1988, he was sentenced to die by the electric chair. Confused? Before we rewind and explain, please be sure to like and subscribe for more of Our Strange Past. Okay, let's back up to the spring of 1987. Reverend John David Terry found himself with a huge sense of failure in his personal and religious life. He had hoped to be promoted to the position of bishop in his church. This long-awaited promotion came with a steep salary hike, which he desperately needed. But the existing bishop decided to stay on, since he deemed Reverend Terry unworthy to be his successor. On Tuesday, June 16, 1987, nearby neighbors were shocked when the church was on fire. When firefighters arrived, the two-story brick church was engulfed in flames. Eventually, they got the fire under control. The first emergency responders were shocked to find a decapitated and charred body in the burnt-out church attic. The corpse was rolled into a rug and lacked part of an arm. An autopsy report later showed that he had been shot with a pistol at point-blank range into the back of his head. Once the medical examiner identified the charred remains as James Matheny and not Reverend Terry, a nationwide search was launched for the missing preacher. They presumed since he was missing, he was yet another victim in this strange, bizarre double homicide. To everyone's astonishment, Terry returned to his family 2 days later and turned himself into the police. During the investigation and the trial, this is the story that unfolded. Reverend Terry was depressed. He was feeling like he failed in life and now failed at becoming bishop. To add to Terry's worries, he had embezzled over $30,000 from the church. With no way out and hoping to secure a financial future for his family, Terry, a man of the cloth, conceived a dark and violent plan. On that dreadful day, Terry asked James Matheny, the church handyman, to go with him up to the attic. He wanted to show him some repairs that were needed. Matheny was a down-on-his-luck 32-year-old handyman and a father of one. Once in the attic, Terry fatally shot Matheny in the back of the head. Following this heinous act, Terry stripped Matheny and dressed the lifeless body with his own clothes. He then went to purchase some gasoline and headed back to the church. There, he took a hacksaw and a knife and gruesomely dismembered Matheny's body, taking the head, a portion of the arm, and a tattoo. After mutilating his remains, Terry rolled Matheny's body in a carpet and set the building on fire. He had hoped that Matheny's burned body would be mistaken for his own. He then went to the handyman's house to plant clues to make it look like Matheny had committed the murder. These clues included fingerprints from Matheny's severed hand. Reverend Terry's plan was to frame Matheny as a murderer and himself as the victim. This would allow his family to collect on the life insurance policy. When he realized his plan failed, Terry voluntarily surrendered to the authorities. After his brief trial, Reverend Terry admitted to it all: the killing, dismemberment, and the fire. His plan was to fake his own death. He thought that this would allow him to start a new life and leave the insurance proceeds to his family. The Reverend also admitted to misappropriating more than $30,000 of the church's money. Also, the detectives found $10,000 in cash in Terry's bedroom and a $100,000 life insurance policy, naming his 3 sons as the prime beneficiaries. After the trial, it took the jury 13 hours of debate in a brief church service to return with a death sentence against Reverend Terry. His conviction was later overturned, leading to a new trial where he was once again found guilty and sentenced to death. On March 14, 2003, at the age of 58, Terry took his own life by hanging himself in a prison bathroom. His death marked the accumulation of a disturbing tale of deceit, murder, and the twisted scheme of a clergyman desperate to escape the consequences of his own actions. Well, that ends today's story of a very twisted mind. Thank you for joining us. And please be sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons before leaving. And until next time, take care.